I'm trying to play Shopify today through OARK. And the question is, do I sell options on Shopify to get into the position, or do I just buy more OARK, which has ARKK in it? That's what it tracks, and ARKK holds Shopify. So let's go look at both and see which one is more viable, the options or the dividend fund OARC that pays you about a 40% dividend currently. Well, first of all, look, we have to look at our income. So we're at 104 right now, dividends for the year. And if we buy OARC right now, it's going to add to that significantly. But the question is also, how much OARC would we buy? But we'll get to that later. So right now we have 4,000. Should we double that to 8? We'll see. Okay. I was looking at Shopify options. I wanted to know if selling the puts on them would be more attractive. January 2025. Why not? I mean, if you believe in the business long term, sell the put at 50 for $1,300. That's almost 30%. Or you could go 40, which is what I was looking at, for $800. So that's about 20%, because 10% on 40 is 400, and so that's 20% is 800. $40 strike price. So, and not only that, you would get it at a much lower cost basis. So 47 is the cost basis. You would get it at 40, which is a much lower price than the market price. Plus you add back in the premium of 8. So you go 40 minus 8, and your true cost basis is 32. So that's why it's attractive to sell options, because you get a lower cost basis on your position, you manage your risk better. Do I want to put a lot of risk into Shopify though? Because it's a stock. So I don't want to use too much of my equity. I want to expose myself to too much risk in the stocks. So selling 3K worth, having 4K exposure of a stock would be going against my rules. I like to sell, if I'm going to go 4K worth on a holding, I like it to be an index. So I decided not to do the option, and I decided instead to go look at ARK and buy OARK through it. So instead of buying ARK, buy, again, OARK, which the underlying of OARK is ARKK. So if you look at the portfolio of ARK, you'll see that Tesla is its largest holding, which is one reason why I like it. It's why I don't have as much in Tesla, because I have it through OARK. And again, I can't put too much in one stock, although Tesla is in the S&P 500. So it's okay to have a little bit higher weighting to that in my portfolio, I believe, because it's just like matching the NASDAQ or the indexes, whereas Shopify is not in the S&P 500. So that's why it's another problem for me to get stock-specific risk through the form of selling an option on Shopify. So I'm here looking at ARKK, and here's Shopify near the bottom of the top 10 holdings. So it's still a top 10 holding. Okay, 64% of the assets are in the top 10 holdings. So it has it holds Shopify. So it's a way to play Shopify as well. So since these holdings that I'm looking at, Shopify and Tesla, are in ARKK, then I'm just going to buy OARK, because I like ARKK, but it doesn't pay a dividend. And even though it's going to grow and potentially go much higher from here, I'm going to stick with the dividend play. The reason why I stick with margins, because I buy dividend names. So I can't have all this margin on this 264,000 roughly on unless I'm getting paid back for it and compensated for the risk. So OARK, I'm going to go ahead and add to that. I already added some to it this morning, but I'm going to add another 1,000 to get it to an even 265 debt. It's just manageable. It's a number I can remember. So I'm going to buy, and it's right here. It says it has a 60% dividend, but we did the math on that recently, and it was 40% on the last time we checked. So go check that on our previous video. Go ahead and buy 1,000 of OARK. Buy 64 shares, 1,000 place, and that should give us about $5,000 of exposure to OARK. It's a decent amount of risk to have for me, as I'm using, again, that margin that you see below. So we have about 5,000 in, and that's going to increase our estimated income. I would say not significantly on the overall amount, but for the bang for the buck that I'm getting, when you think in terms of, I only added 1,000 more here, and so I'm getting 400, because so it was just 104, now it's 104.4, because 1,000 at 40% is $400. So it's a beautiful thing. I got the most bang for my buck there in OARK. But the question is OARK risky? Well, it's probably less risky than buying Shopify or selling puts on Shopify outright. If Shopify is going up, then it's going to help ARKK or OARK when it's going up. So I think that I'm comfortable with this buy and keeping it at 5. As you know, I keep all my lower quality and questionable names at 5 here in this column, as you can see on the right. And then all my higher quality names, I put the much larger amount in, as we said in previous videos. So, and all of this helps us get a performance that beats the market, which is currently we're at 19.7 percent up for the year. S&P is up 7%, Dow's up 1%, and Nasdaq's up 15%. Again, we're up almost 20%, 19.74. And on a 3-year chart, again, you can see that we are blowing away the market. We're up 131% versus the S&P is 47, Dow's 41, and Nasdaq's 47. The last videos you saw the S&P was in the 60s. So I don't understand why it changed that. It looks skewed a little differently today. Sometimes E-Trade does that, but nonetheless, once again, I'm going to have to keep checking that in the future. But once again, that's still pretty good performance over the last 3 years using this margin strategy. So I think that'll do it for the video today. Let me know your thoughts on Shopify and if you would just buy the stock outright, sell options on it as a little bit safer way to play it, which violates my rules of margin. As you know, I like to keep 1K in stocks, or go a step further and buy OARK for the 40% dividend. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.